Hey everybody, and welcome to the 1044, a weekly webisode and podcast from the editors here at CCJ Overdrive and Truck Parts Service. I'm James Gillette, and my co-host on the other side is Jason Cannon. This week on the 1044, the COVID vaccine. With more than 39 million U.S. residents having already been fully vaccinated, trucking is still just trying to find its place in line.
Since COVID vaccines were rolled out late last year, more than 111 million people have been administered at least the first of the two-part dosage. Transportation employees who didn't meet certain age and pre-existing condition requirements were placed in the third wave of those eligible for shots, despite serving as frontline heroes during the worst parts of the pandemic.
Even more aggravating is that not all states have reached the third wave of participants, and requirements to be vaccinated can vary state to state. Some states require proof of residency, others don't require you to live in state, but you have to work in that state. The curveball here is that making a delivery in a state doesn't classify as actually being an employee there.
I'm sure it can be frustrating for fleet employees, especially for drivers who want a vaccine, and it's got to be maddening on the logistics end for fleet managers who have to be able to get the driver back to the home state within that 3 to 4 week window for follow-up vaccinations. We spoke with Kristy Hedrick, who's the Vice President of Human Resources at Cargo Transporters. That's a Claremont, North Carolina-based truckload dry freight carrier. Her company is trying to remove some of those hurdles by working directly with the local healthcare provider network to get those employees vaccinated.
Kind of how this rolled out here in Catawba County in North Carolina, they partnered with the two local hospitals and basically said, we're going to streamline this process. We're going to try to help individuals that have been holding on, the line forever. It seems like, because I've had some family members in that situation, but they've basically said, we're going to streamline this process for employees whenever that group 3, the frontline essential workers were entered into part of the vaccination group as of March the 3rd. And they said, we're going to do this, and that way the employees will not have that burden on them.
Cargo Transporters worked with a scheduling specialist and its drivers to find the best possible time slot for their vaccination on Mondays and Thursdays each week. The carrier has a target of 250 employee vaccinations, and as of next week, it expects to be just a little more than halfway there. In many cases, drivers have found that they were able to get vaccinated more quickly by working through Cargo Transporters than by standing in line with the general public.
I had one particular driver that he tried to schedule himself and found out that it was going to be a much easier process through the employer, because as an individual, he was going to be waiting at least weeks, they told him. So he came back to us to help with that particular process. But
We've seen some companies, Love's Travel Stops being an example, offer a financial incentive to get vaccinated. Cargo Transporters doesn't offer an incentive to get the shot, but Kristy said her company simply puts the opportunity in front of its employees, and it's up to them to make an informed decision.
we understand and we encourage that they talk to their providers. That way they are better educated, visit the CDC, use those resources, learn about, the vaccinations, and make a wise choice off of the information that you find there.
Kristy told us that these vaccinations take place about 7 miles off site, and Cargo Transporters offers transportation for the employees that need it. But it can be challenging finding holes in a driver's schedule because, as we all know, if a driver's not dragging freight somewhere, no one is making any money.
It is a very streamlined process, and there are basically 12 time slots every 15 minutes. You have 12 appointments available every 15 minutes. And so we're also, other companies here in the area are participating. So we're there with other individuals. But once you arrive on site, you're looking at basically really a 5 to 10 minute process. Then you're setting for your monitoring time. Once you get that vaccination, of course, they want to monitor to make sure how you're doing with that. And so you have a 15 to 20 minute monitoring period that you wait. And so they said at most you should expect 30 minutes for any given appointment.
The COVID vax is a two-trip deal. So at cargo transporters, they try to schedule a driver's follow-up alongside that initial dosage. Navigating regulations, home time, and customer needs, it can be tough.
We have already scheduled when they're scheduled for their first vaccination, we are scheduling their second vaccination at that same time. Typically, what we are doing, the effort is same time, same place, 4 weeks later. So they are scheduled, and then they get a reminder card at their appointment. So that way, if for any reason they would have to reschedule, they do have a number on there that they can call, but otherwise they have a reminder card, but that appointment is scheduled at the same time as the first appointment.
Driver availability is clearly a challenge, and cargo transporters has to figure it out twice in order to maximize the efficacy of the vaccine. That's got to be tough.
The first one, most of those have went pretty smooth. So the second one, we'll see how that goes. But we know that a lot of drivers have routine. I'll say that. So they typically know they go out on a Sunday. They're usually back in on Thursday, or, somewhere along that line, they have a routine. So they're pretty good with that part. So I think we'll fall in line pretty well on our second vaccinations. But you're exactly right. It's very tough for the operations to kind of make sure that all this works. I mean, I referenced this particular guy earlier that got him in, but basically I got a call today and he's in Texas in a snowstorm. So he's like, I'm not sure that I'm going to make that morning appointment. And so I told him, I said, well, I actually had a cancellation for tomorrow afternoon. So we're buying him a couple hours and hoping that he can get in the afternoon tomorrow. But we most definitely have to juggle and figure things out and help and work between the drivers, the operations group, and HR.
As always, you can find the 1044 each week on CCJ's YouTube channel or in your favorite podcast listening app. If you've got questions, comments, criticisms, or feedback otherwise, please hit us up at 1044trucking@gmail.com or give us a call, 404-491-1380. Until next week, everybody stay safe.